Go live, go live.
We're live. We are bringing out Geek, and we are doing talking Walking Comics, Walking Dead issue number 53.
Yes, indeed.
And we're gonna
dive right into it.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're gonna skip the cover because for some unprecedented reason we are not going to do any spoilers on this particular one.
Well, so it's a spoiler within the show. We're open to all spoilers except spoilers within the show. So
yeah, it's a spoiler for later in the issue. So we want to just
we're artists. No, we're not.
No, no, we're not. Well, I'm just not here.
Yeah, not this. Yeah, this isn't. Gene's an
Starting
artist in other mediums. I'm just not an artist.
All right, so when we left off, we had come across Maggie and Glenn. Michonne had been reunited with Rick and Carl.
Yes, indeed. And so it was a happy reunion, and we just picked right up there. And I think we left the previous issue with kind of looking at Maggie and Glenn, and we turn around to now see their point of view, seeing Rick. And right out of the gate, first panel of the comic, I have an issue because it appears to me that Rick is trying to shade his eyes with his arm, which has no hand, so it basically results in him pressing his stump against his temple. And I found no utility to that pose whatsoever.
I thought of it more like a salute.
I guess, but it's a lame salute. There was no eye shading to be had because the shading mechanism that most of us utilize.
More forearm to do that, I guess, yeah.
But he didn't. But he was happy, and he didn't even give him a creepy hi.
Yeah, there was no stalker face.
He's just happy, Rick. And right out of the gate, Maggie finds out, asks about Herschel, and was it Ben? Was that the brother? I was trying to remember. I want to say Ben, but
she says my father and my brother. So yeah.
Right. I can't remember the kid's name, but doesn't matter. He's dead. So
basically, if you are separated from Rick for any reason whatsoever, and you come across him on the road, expect to be greeted with an odd gesture of some flavor, and everybody's dead.
Yep. Anybody you ask about, be careful who you ask about, because that didn't make it.
It's like his MO. He's got to do something funky, and then he's just like, nope, they're all dead.
Don't ask him how you look, because that could be suicide. And is Glenn blonde this issue? I was trying to figure out in some of the early panels. It's almost somehow he had a little blonde. I guess I'm trying to remember.
I think it's because remember he shaved his head.
Yeah,
he was completely Yul Brynner bald in earlier issues, and I think this is just stubble. I think that's how they're trying to make it look, like it's kind of growing back in a little bit. I can't imagine in a zombie apocalypse he would have time to peroxide his hair. No. But
I doubt it. And so they fill him in that they're staying at Herschel's farm, and so they all head back that away. And a very maniacal-looking Andrea spots them.
She looks crazy.
She did
so crazy.
It was a very crazy-looking Andrea, and she just says a bad word, which is kind of your thing. So if you wanted to share with the group what she said, we could. Otherwise, we could move on.
Well, I think it's not even just that she's got like a crazy look on her face. It's the fact that she's holding the gun up and pointing it at them when she curses. So she's like, "Holy sh!" But she's got this like one crazy wild eye, and then she's got the gun up, and it just looks a little. Here's Johnny shining.
Mm-hmm.
Very to the bathroom door.
So do you think when there's comparisons, when we make kind of comparisons between they take some story arcs and apply them to other characters and all that, do you think there's like a dash of Beth and Maggie right now. I mean, it's just kind of all of a sudden she's become like, I mean, and obviously for good reason. I'm not saying she's being a baby, but she seems to have all of a sudden really, she's down. She's way down. I kind of
It's
think they played that into Beth in the
it's
TV.
possible. Yeah, it's no secret that Beth was never my favorite character ever. So,
Beautiful voice.
I'm not saying she doesn't have a beautiful voice. I'm saying her character couldn't decide whether she was going to be like they had no continuity with her whatsoever. She was either like, I'm going to sing a beautiful song to a baby, isn't this adorable little lullaby, or I hate everything and everyone's going to die and let's just call it a night right now.
And I don't
And they
care if my
couldn't.
boyfriend's dead and
Yeah,
whatever.
I
And
have no tears, but I'm going to sing a lovely lullaby. Like, I just really, there's no like character continuity in there at all whatsoever. I mean, just sort of pick one. Either you are like without hope or you're positive, but you can't be like flipping the coin every 5 seconds and expect me to like you. I just, yeah. So yeah, they're kind of pulling that thread across with Maggie right now, and I'm not enjoying it.
just a hint of however you want to say it. Either we see a hint of Beth and Maggie,
Yeah.
or a hint of what was going on with Maggie made its way to Beth in the show.
Right.
But then Rick and Dale meet up and do kind of a light level bro out. Just yo, hey, no big hugs, but they're broing to a low degree broing, but they're low degree broing and glad to see each other.
Yeah. And sort of that gets a little bit deeper later.
Yep, more
But
broing to come.
Little bromance happening. There's a really sort of disturbing thing that happens at the little scene between Sophia and Carl. And to be quite frank, I'd kind of forgotten about Sophia because we've been away for so long.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn it.
She's still there. And Carl wastes no time in delivering two of the worst lines ever in the history. It's got we both have dead moms now. That's like his lead. That's, hi Sophia, we both have dead moms, or don't be sad, we both have dead moms now.
Way to open, Carl.
That was a strong one. But then followed by my mom's not, she says, my mom's not dead, she's in the other room, and then goes, that's Maggie, your mom is dead. Jeez, yeah. Carl, lighten up.
She didn't seem to mind though, because she just leaps right at him. I love you.
And then Carl had the wild eye going because he was Mickey girl cooties. So
yeah, well, I can't say I blame him. She's a little like, I don't know, nuts.
She's been through a little bit.
She has, as
Rick.
Rick explains to Carl, because Carl's like, hey, so I think Sophia's nuts.
And stupid, and Rick has a little heart-to-heart with him about she's been through a lot, and it's a hard world, and I wish she didn't have to live in it this way, and it's the only world you've known, blah, 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 blah.
Emotion, blah, blah, blah.
Heartfelt exchange, blah, blah.
But I love the fact that he starts the heartfelt conversation with, damn it, Carl. Like, you can't even like no, he can't even like just ease into that. He starts to write out with damn it.
You be nice to that girl. So then so Rick heads out after the blah 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 blah.
Emotion, blah 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 blah.
And Dale, who as he came out, I was like, there's Porch Dick, because he was out on the porch.
Like a little bit like that, yeah, a little bit.
That's like, I wonder if he's gonna go, just all the creepy things. I'll say very obvious things. Oh, you're standing in the door.
My wife cut your hair. Yeah.
I got 2 feet. Just whatever. But no, they have a little chat. I thought it was kind of interesting that Dale has shifted into his biggest fear is not the dead anymore. It's the living, particularly living that want to take what, if you're in a place that is appealing to somebody, it might get taken away, since given his recent prison experience.
Right.
And he goes, so this is not special. It's not any different than there's a bunch of farmhouses like this. No one's going to come after this. So I think I'm going to stay here.
Which I think we learned in Rise of the Governor is not entirely accurate, but we won't
So,
get into that. Yeah, this is another conversation that Rick feels the need to have, because he had one with Michonne where, he basically says it's all gone to hell in a handbasket, and
it's all my fault.
yeah, whoa, which is, and like I said, I mean, in the show, you kind of get a feel for these things. One conversation of this was enough for me with Michonne in the last issue. We didn't have to do this again. So, yeah. And there's a weird panel. I don't know if you noticed. There's a strange panel. It's right in the middle of one of the pages where they're having this sort of conversation about, like, kind of it's not your fault. Stuff happens. If you want to talk about it, I'm around, sort of thing. But we're both manly men and we don't discuss these things. And there's this weird panel right in the middle where their hands are almost touching. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I did.
And I was like, I guess like a show of solidarity, I guess, but it's really strange the way that they did it. And it's just like he's reaching for his hand, but he doesn't quite want to touch him, and he doesn't, like, Dale doesn't know quite how to approach Rick. It's a kind of an odd I don't know. It was a little bit peculiar, I felt.
Yeah.
Because immediately afterwards, you see that Rick is standing up and, like, over on the other side of the porch.
He's like, "Ooh, hold on there, killer. Not my
No,
time."
no touching.
Yeah.
No touchy.
Which is one of the few decisions Rick makes that I could be in favor, because at one point Rick says, "I'm done making decisions," and I'm like, "That's good. That's a very good thing, because your decisions have not been good," and I think that carries forward into TV. And it is an awkward time, because, like, Dale's kind of proposing, "Hey, we could form a Dead Wives Club and exchange stories." But yeah, it was, but it was still important to the arc in terms of just continuing to, because they've not been on the same side of the fence on a few things, and just to kind of, a little bit of kind of closing together to there, and then Rick hightails out of there, and,
like, his hair is on fire, and like I said, I didn't know if that was because Dale tried to touch his hand, and he just wasn't cool with, like, sort of being comforted, or it was weird. It was a very strange little scenario. It was awkward to read.
And speaking of strange, it's followed by Rick coming across Michonne, who's engaged in a conversation with her dead boyfriend.
Excellent, which I think is fantastic, because then he gets to come out of the closet about the phone.
Yep. Yes.
And Lori.
We talk to the dead club. So yeah, and they
he turned Dale down, but he's up for it with Michonne, apparently.
So. I find that very appealing in a woman. That's there's a little bit of a bond there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's basically like, okay, so I talked to someone who's dead too. Let's not tell anybody about this. Okay. Deal.
We're both crazy. Haha. Yeah, I don't know if Rick really needed the prop. I don't know if he needed to say, "And here's the phone." I think he could have just actually told her, "I've got a phone," but he went and got it. No, see, in case there was any doubt.
Showed her the phone.
Complete wacky. I think it's because the artist likes to draw the touch-tone phone, and so
he does. Yeah,
it's a nice phone.
Yeah. So everybody sleeping?
Yes, indeed.
Gunshot goes off. Yeah.
So Andrea just camps out on the roof 7x24.
I think so.
Stuff. Maybe that explains the whole crazy eye thing. Because
she's hopped up on caffeine, and yeah, could be. So she's basically she kind of fired a warning shot, I guess, is what it boils down to, for 3 visitors that were on the cover.
Larry, Moe, and Curly. Yes, the Three Stooges make their first appearance in The Walking Dead. Which would be awesome to have the Stooges fighting zombies, I think. That would be
great.
Which kind of Evil Dead. You got a little bit of that. But,
Evil Dead.
But, yeah, so she's barking. So we got Abraham, Rosita, and Eugene. Dr. Eugene Porter.
I can't even. Eugene.
So TV Eugene
Yes.
I think has his charms. You know,
Does he now? Does he?
I
Does
think
he?
the whole respect the hair game kind of really awkwardness, as opposed to this is a relative conversation. You know, I'm talking TV Eugene versus comic Eugene, because comic Eugene's just this kind of gooey thing, greasy,
Gooey thing.
just I don't know. I find him more repellent than TV Eugene.
Okay, all right. I will go with that. I will go with more repellent as a description.
Okay.
Um,
As opposed to anything positive about TV Eugene.
exactly.
Comic
Exactly.
Eugene is more repellent.
Precisely. Exactly. Yes. That is completely accurate.
But their little chat is interrupted by a walker
Yes, it is.
who is wearing "I'd rather be playing Cosmic Encounter" T-shirt, and I gotta imagine there's a story behind that. I'm not familiar with Cosmic Encounter. I don't know if that's something Kirkman made up or whatever. But it's a gamer. It's a gamer zombie,
Yeah.
and
Looks a little like Bill Gates.
a little bit. Glenn had come out. Glenn had come out and fumbled his gun or something, and so Abraham's like, "Stand aside, son. Let me take care of this," and he takes care of business.
He does. The great big Bowie knife.
Bowie knife, and then a head stomp on a second zombie, a kick and a head stomp. So he certainly takes care of business.
WROKK. Rock.
Rock, yeah. Followed by, and so
Goom.
you're going to need to help me. Yeah, goom. Goom, goom, goom. So this is goom, goom, four gooms that are traversing through the upper bedroom window.
Mm-hmm.
What is goom, goom, goom? That's not gun. Is that his boot?
Yes. It's his boot in the skull. As he's squishing the head.
So those were like, to scale, those goom letters were 6 inches tall coming through that window. You know, if you're trying I felt if goom is indeed the noise a boot going through a head makes, those should have been smaller, in my opinion. Unless he's like right outside. The only way they should be that big is if he's right outside the window.
Okay.
Possibly
I can go with that. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what I said. Well, it can't be a gun, but it was depicted as being quite loud. But okay, so it was the head smashing.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, with the boot.
So then Eugene gives a little lecture about the dangers of gunfire. And imagine that the whole world is a net, and every time you fire a gun, you catch more dead people in your net. Blah 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 blah.
Eugene. That's really.
Have you ever dealt with a herd? And so blah blah blah. And then Abraham gives his USS Indianapolis speech. I'm Abraham, blah blah blah. And this is Rosita, and we're going to Washington D.C.
Indianapolis speech.
Yes, it's like
Quinn. Jaws reference.
Yes. This is his Indianapolis speech.
I love it. I watched that today. Anyway.
Ever see a zombie's eyes? They're dead eyes. Doll's eyes.
Doll's eyes. Okay.
Love that speech.
I do too. Okay.
Much better than Eugene's. Much better.
I'm willing to, you know what? I'm gonna be real nice right now. Okay. There was gonna be a Trump joke. That's all I'll say.
Keep it in.
I had to something. Okay. And basically, he's like, hey, we're gonna all go to Washington D.C. and if I had my druthers, you'd all come with me.
And we need your supplies, all you can bear. In fact, more than you can bear, probably. So it's just he's making friends. Good intro. Very competent, and they're a little bit like, wow, what makes you guys such great stuff, And that's when Eugene, I'm a scientist, mister, and I know exactly what caused this mister. It's always when someone throws in mister. It's
just wrong. And I know exactly what caused this mess, which
we'll just have to see if that's true, won't we?
we might just have to guess. I have to say, like, when I read this, I was like, geez, years ago, I didn't buy a word that came out of his mouth.
Well,
Not one.
so I don't have like a huge amount of experience, doing the video thing through. I'm no expert, but I've done like a lot of them, at this point
Right,
in time.
right.
And one thing I've learned, a couple things. One, you've noted that through your coaching, I learned to try and not have the camera cut off, so that just my eyes were appearing.
Doing Kilroy.
Yeah, do the Kilroy thing. So that was appreciate the help there. That was a good tip. But the other thing that I know, and I think I actually learned this also from some photography, is that there's no worse angle for a human being than an upward angle, and
Yeah.
that last scene when he's giving us, listen here, mister, the panel is drawn in, looking upwards towards
Right.
here. So there's this mammoth mound of head filling the panel,
With a
looking
mammoth mound of neck.
neck, and again, gooey. He's just,
He looks really sweaty and dirty. It's not a pretty sight and not a good angle for him at all. I have to, yeah.
No, but he's got the answers. You get kind of the slightly squinted, I know better than you eyes going, and it's just not. I'm trying to
And it's
recall
so close. It's so close. It's
too
just
close. He should always be drawn at a distance. Just always step back. But yeah, and so that's where we end. So apparently, Gene's the man with plans, got all the answers. How lucky for them that they stumbled into them. So what could possibly go wrong?
I think it's funny too that they just had a conversation where Dale was just saying like nobody's gonna want to take anything from us because there's lots of houses around here, and then these three show up and they're like, give me everything you've got.
Yep, because we want it.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna have to see what happens next here.
We are.
And I have nothing else to say.
I think the most important thing that came out of this is that TV Eugene is less repulsive than comic Eugene.
Comic Eugene, yes. I think repugnant, even. And if anybody watching this can help us out, and if Cosmic Encounters is a thing, if it's a real game or it's a game that has some sort of history in another movie or something, if there's actually something to it, would love for you to throw something in the comments and fill us in, because I didn't do any intensive Wikipedia research on it prior to the show. But I kind of wonder whether I'd rather be playing Cosmic Encounters as a little in-joke for something. Maybe it's just a gamer shirt. I don't know.
Could be. So if you came across Rosita and Eugene and Abraham, just show up at your house asking for stuff and say, hey, we're all going to go to Washington, D.C., and this right here is a scientist. Would you go?
I'd say, I think Rosita's slowing you guys down. You should go. and ask Rosita to stay. Because, no, I would, well, he's a,
She shows midriff and, and
she looks thoughtful. She looks like she's, of that group, if I'm going to pick somebody to stay, she's hands down, Although, Abraham obviously appears to be, have some of the skills you might need to survive. If they came knocking on the door saying, we got it all solved, depends what I really felt my current situation was. If I really felt, I'm pretty good right now, I think I'd say, I'm pretty good right now. Good luck to you.
Right.
But I don't think at this point I would take off with people. There's just too many bad things that could happen. How about you?
I think my biggest issue, and like I said, just from even years ago when I first read this, I just don't trust Eugene, and it's probably because he thinks he knows everything right out of the gate. I don't tend to handle those people very well. And I usually tend to think that people who think they know everything are kind of full of it.
I know exactly what you're saying.
Are you referring to me? Dude.
No.
Oh.
I'm not.
All right. I think I'd probably stay where I was. They didn't. I mean, they didn't do too well out on the road. So just
I think shelter's a key at some point in time here.
right, right,
Anything that you
right.
can kind of sustain a little bit of fortification to, and if you go out on the road, and so they're still in Atlanta, right? I mean, this would be in the Atlanta area in the
Right,
comic at this point in
right.
time, and so I don't think I'd venture out on the road. I mean, there is some logic to DC would be the safest place.
There is, I suppose.
Either that or a Trump hotel, because I'm fairly certain most Trump hotels are fully prepared with walls that make
I'm of the mind to believe that the Trump Hotel is where it all started.
there's a wall. He made the zombies build it. It was great. Zombies paid for this wall. We could go to. Never mind. We should probably stay off of picking on poor Donald. But
oh, poor Donald. Yeah. Okay. All right. On that note, so we're gonna see what happens with Eugene the scientist,
Mister.
Mister. That's such a little kid thing to say. I'm sorry. Like, who says that? I mean, anyway.
I'm trying to recall the last time I ever threw out a Mister. In that type of mode when it was like, I don't.
I literally think I did it. I know I did it at least once, but I think that was like literally the last time, and it was I think it was like one of my jobs in high school, and there was this guy working on an elevator, and I didn't know his name, and I couldn't get his attention. I was like, "Hey, Mister!" like yelling up the elevator shaft, and it's like literally, I think the only time I have ever done that.
You're yelling up an elevator shaft?
Yeah.
So those aren't usually accessible.
It was open. So.
Okay.
But it was like I didn't know what to like. Hey, buddy. Hey, so I just said, "Hey, Mister," because he was like, twice as old as I was, and I didn't know what else to say. But I mean, it sounded so weird coming out of my mouth that I literally remember saying it. It's like the only time I've ever said it.
I use you a lot. Hey, you, how are you doing? Because I'm remarkably bad. Remarkably bad with names and faces to the extent that I'll be introducing myself. Hey, I'm Kelly. How you da? Yeah, we were in a meeting 2 days ago. Oh, sorry. Sorry about that. Oh, now I remember. No, I don't.
Oh boy.
I just lie. Oh yeah, now I remember. Yeah, you, a table sitting you were there at the meeting, talking and stuff.
Yeah, face and stuff.
Yeah, and then the meeting ended, and you kind of like laughed and stuff like that. I remember it completely.
Excellent.
And by the point I finished that sentence, her name is gone again, so I can't even then do like a makeup. Bad. Bob? I don't know.
All right, so next one, 54. Yeah, and we're going to see if anybody believes anything that comes out of Eugene's mouth, if they plan on following Abraham, who... I don't know. I think if Rick is done making decisions, then maybe, It's a
great time for Abraham. He looks like a decision-making machine. So, could work out well.
Yes.
By the way, folks, no extra charge for this show that Jeans has an animated background.
I'm sorry. I know. She's...
so awesome because with the bamboo and the cat both being black, it's like the cat was drawn, but then all of a sudden you see it start to move, and so it's like super cool.
Okay, yeah, sorry. She's like stuck by me today. She won't leave me alone. She's following me everywhere, and now she won't look at me. Okay, anyway, all right. So
I don't think she likes Eugene either, at all.
You know what? I think that's a fair assessment.
Either that, or she's a Trump supporter. She's very angry with you right now.
Nah. All right. So next week, 54 see what happens with Abraham and Eugene and Rosita, who hasn't really said anything yet.
Nope, just jauntily put her hand on her hip.
And,
That's about it.
And gun happy 24/7 rooftop sitting Andrea.
Crazy-eyed,
Yeah,
yes.
crazy eyed.
Good stuff. Yeah, there's some good. As I recall, there's some pretty good lines in the next issue. So
Yeah.
looking forward to it.
It's gonna be good.
Cool.
All
So
right.
tune in next week, kids, and you'll hear more about that.
Yep, and we're doing this on today's Wednesday.
I think it is. Yep.
Wednesdays 9 Central, I think, is what we've decided on, right?
Ish. Yes. Right around that general time frame.
Somewhere in there. All right.
And of course, and they're on Gene's YouTube channel to watch the whole series.
2 at 8. Okay. Good night.
See ya.
I should do it with my stump. Got a hand. Too bad.
Bye.